Hi guys, you joined me in our G87 M2, and if you haven't been following the project, we took a completely stock M2 and, inspired by the M4 CSL, added some OEM M4 CSL parts along with some aftermarket parts to make our own version of the M2 CSL. So the car currently has M4 CSL software in the steering, differential and traction control. It has the front hubs and the anti-roll bars and the engine mounts and gearbox mounts, along with some aftermarket parts, including the Venturi intake, strut brace, and the Evolve software taking it to 600 horsepower. But the real test is going to be how close have we got to the M4 CSL? And the best way to do that is drive them back to back on the road and the track. So first things first, let's jump in the M4 CSL and see how close we got it. We've owned this CSL for 3 years now, so it just had its first MOT and we've covered 5,200 miles. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but this car is literally only used for doing road trips and going on the track. So I've driven it to Nürburgring, done a few laps on there, and then I've driven it to Bilsterberg, we've done laps on there, and we've taken it to a few UK tracks like Donington, Goodwood and Bedford Autodrome. So primarily we have used it on the track, and my opinion hasn't changed since we first bought it. I said it is special, it's very much an improvement over the stock car, just feels more raw, more direct, and having those 5,000 miles in the car has made me gel with it even more. Don't regret buying it at all, even though it's lost a bit of value. We've just been having fun in it, which is what this car is designed for. So when the M2 came, I knew that we could make it quite close to this by retrofitting a lot of the parts because they go straight on. And of course we've taken our M2 just a little bit further. So I'm really curious to drive these back to back because I haven't really done that before, and see what the difference is and how close we've got to this car. So the CSL, much like the M3 CSL, is designed to be a car that you can drive to the track in relative comfort, do a track day, and then drive home. Now, I've driven this car all the way to Germany before, did a whole day on the track with Bilstein, and then next day I drove it all the way home, and pretty much on the highway it's as comfortable as you're gonna get. And when you're on the track, it's set up so you can still have some fun. A lot of that is down to the suspension setup and the solid bushings they've used in the engine and gearbox mounts, and also the front hubs providing some negative camber. As you can see, this road's quite bumpy, so it's tracking the road, but it's not too taxing, and it just makes it a little spicier than the standard car. They've also changed the software and the steering, differential and traction control, just to give you that little bit more excitement. Ooh, so many potholes. And it's significantly faster than the figures suggest. We have dynoed this and it makes around 40 to 50 more horsepower than BMW claim, and it is still rear wheel drive. So the G80 is now a competition and X drive. This one, they retained the rear wheel drive to give it a little bit more excitement. Yeah, turn into great. Still so good on these country roads as well, so it can do both. That's what I like about BMW when they make a car like this. It does have a duality about it. My opinion hasn't changed on this car. It's still more than the sum of its parts, which when BMW do a CS or CSS model, they normally are. So if you follow the channel, you guys will know that we essentially built a mini CSL with this car using OE CSL parts and a few aftermarket parts. So the OE CSL parts I've carried over are the anti-roll bars, the engine mounts, the gearbox mounts, strut bar, the front hubs to give us the negative camber. This does have height adjustable springs rather than CSL springs, and we've loaded all the software in. Now, as you'd expect, theory would suggest that it behaves very much like a CSL, and it does, just feels like a small version. This car does have a little bit more power, so it has around 25 to 30 more horsepower than the CSL, and that's just come from the extra bit of tuning that we've done. But on the road, feels good. If anything, it's a little less fidgety on these bumpy roads due to the springs that we're using. But in terms of feel, feels the same. Steering feels quite sharp. It tracks a little bit on the road. And again, I've done long drives in this. I've done 11,000 miles. I've driven to track days, done European trips to the Alps. And I would just say on the road, at least, it feels that little bit peppier, probably due to the shorter wheelbase. So again, it's a lot of fun. And the only other difference is obviously the CSL has ceramic brakes. We have upgraded the pads on this. That's going to be a true test on the track. But BMW did build the M4 CSL for the track. So it's only fair that we test both of them where they were designed to be driven. We're here at Bedford Autodrome. We have our M2 and we have the M4 CSL, and they're both on Michelin PS4S tyres. And we're going to take them out on the track and see just how close we got to the M4 CSL. So Bedford is a great track for beginners, and if you just want a good, safe track experience, because it has plenty of runoff areas. Yeah, need some more heat into them. But it's surprisingly good how well this behaves out of the box. We are running PS4Ss on both cars. I have driven both of the cars on Cup 2Rs before, and they completely transformed the car. It's so good with those because they were developed for this car, and on track they're just incredible. I was really shocked at the difference. And remember, we haven't tuned this car. We haven't done anything to it apart from an even Venturi intake. It's feeling a bit better now. It's very progressive, so it's very easy to handle. The turning on these is so much better than the standard car because of the camber correction the hubs give you, which is also what we've done to the M2. I just feel like the M2 is slightly more exciting to drive than this because of the shorter wheelbase. So since I've had the CSL, I've not seen another one on the road in 3 years, and I've come to this track day and there's a M4 CSL and an M3 CS. It's good to see people actually using them as they were intended to be used. Okay, so done a lap in the M4 CSL, or a couple of laps, and I'm going to go out in the M2. So this is the first time I've driven them back to back, and I have been out in this already as well, just to familiarize myself with it. And it's pretty damn good. Okay, let's warm the tyres up this time. The good thing about these cars is they're very progressive, so even when the tyres are cold, you can just feel it slipping and just come off the throttle a little bit. Lean on the traction control if you want. So the only difference in the suspension on this is we have retrofitted a lot of the CSL parts. Engine mounts, gearbox mounts, anti-roll bars, and we've programmed CSL software into the steering and the gearbox and the differential. The only difference is the height adjustable springs, and straight away I can feel like the car has much less roll in the corners. It's very congested here again. I'll overtake some of them. And it just inspires a lot more confidence than the CSL, which I'm surprised about. I didn't think it would make that much difference, but this is, I've always maintained that this car is much more fun on the road because of the short wheelbase. Just seems to rotate a lot better. Turning feels sharper. It shouldn't feel sharper, but it seems to be that way. This has marginally more power, not a lot. So the CSL will be around 580 something, I think it was, and this is just over 600 in its current configuration. It just seems to have more grip, even though they're on the same tires. Just feel like I've got more grip in this. Either that's down to the suspension having more contact, the tire having more contact with the road because the suspension's slightly better. It's just a little bit spicier, but in a good way. So as I mentioned, both of them are on PS4S just so we could have them on the same tyre, but I've driven this car on Cup 2Rs as well, and it's absolutely incredible on track. I was at Nürburgring GP circuit, and after a while I was driving the car like it was a go-kart. I had that much confidence in it. It was so much fun. So in theory, this car should feel like a little M4 CSL, and practically it does. And it's just that little bit more exciting, I think, due to the shorter wheelbase and the different springs that we've used, and it's probably weighs a little bit less as well. So on the track especially, I felt like the car was slightly more connected. It turned a little bit sharper than the M4 CSL, and this is obviously a lot cheaper. The CSL is around £80,000 now used. You can buy a used M4 CSL for quite a bit less, and depending on the specification you go for, you could just have the handling pack on this, or the handling and the power package, or the handling, power and the aero. Obviously the aero is very expensive because it's full carbon fiber, but it doesn't really affect the performance on the car, especially on the road. If you're interested in building one of these yourself, please get in touch and we can work through the various packages we have. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please remember to smash that like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. If you want to join the conversation, please drop a comment below and we'll try our best to respond to you. If you want to watch more of this project, you can do so over here. If you want to watch what YouTube thinks you might like from our other content, you can do so over here.